Hey everyone, welcome to this new moon Sidereal astrology forecast for the new moon on July 9th and 10th of 2021. All right, so we have a new moon in Gemini. If you're expecting me to say Cancer just then, be sure to check out the link down below for more information. We are using the visible sky called True Sidereal Astrology, which does change the signs from mainstream astrology. All right, so a fresh new beginning to the lunar cycle. We are ending the eclipse cycle. The last lunar month we had was an eclipse month. And so a lot of perhaps perspective changes and perhaps some transformations that occurred during that cycle. Now we do have a fresh new start. So Gemini is about getting into our more practical side. Gemini, the twins, is all about synergizing things in our life, particularly with our mind. It's a very mental constellation, being an air sign, being willing to learn, synthesize information, gather information. But also Gemini can be a bit social as well, so it is good to also converse, exchange ideas with others. Maybe if it is more inward, maybe doing some writing, some reading, some learning, but also exchanging, I think, is a great way of working with this new beginning. So we do have an opposition up to Pluto, who's in Sagittarius here with this new moon. So there is still some probably some deep energy coming up that we can work with. It is very good to implement a deeper mind into things. Maybe research, uncovering deep stuff, maybe psychological or just about uncovering the truth of matters, but really about changing our perception on things. I think there is a fresh new beginning collectively with our perception with Pluto in Sagittarius. So there is a trine up to Neptune, some supportive energy from the receptive planet, maybe more willing to go with the flow, maybe a little bit more accepting for how things are unfolding in our life, which is great. A square up to Chiron, so maybe some healing we can do, again, like that Pluto energy. And sextile up to Uranus, maybe some new and different experiences could be good, at least available with this lunar month, to get outside that comfort zone and try some new and different things. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the chart for the new moon. So the new moon will be on Friday and Saturday, July 9th and 10th. The exact time of the new moon will be at 22:04 Eastern Time of the Americas on Friday the 9th. So very late Friday, early Saturday for most of us here in the world. And but for all intents and purposes, it will be on the cusp right between these 2 days. So first of all, we are using the visible sky, as you can see here. The actual constellations in the sky are different sizes. If you're used to mainstream astrology, you may notice that the signs are usually an even 30 degrees. So the signs do change. Like, for example, in mainstream, they are saying that the new moon is in Cancer. But if you were to look up at the visible sky, you would see it at the end here of Gemini, the twins. All right, so a new moon, it is the ending, approaching this. It is the ending of the previous lunar cycle. This is the lowest energy phase of the lunar month. So it is good to turn a little bit inward as we approach the Friday, Saturday time period. To sort of do some releasing, some clearing, some making of space, right, for what will be the new beginnings around the corner. So it is good to recognize this is the lowest energy phase of the cycle. It's good to kind of do a little bit of a reset and again turn a little bit inward to see what these new beginnings are all about. But Gemini, the twins, is all about synergy. It's the twins. It's two individuals that are twins of equal status. And so it deals a lot with the exchanging energy. Now, of course, this can be exchanging internally, such as through the left and right hemispheres of our brains, for example, of learning and being interested. Fundamentally, this is what Gemini is about. It's our interested side. It's the side that's willing to learn. It's the side that is very adaptive and flexible because there is so much information to learn. So it's the jack of all trades. And so it's very light on our toes, right? When we are interested, we go from this to that and gather a bunch of information. So very good to get into this side of ourself, the side that is interested, the side that does want to gather information. But like I was saying also earlier, also to share it. You know, Gemini is very much about connecting with, again, the equal status. So our peers, maybe our neighbors, maybe our siblings is Gemini as well, the twins. So anyone of equal status, it's a very good time of sort of doing some exchanging with. Being interested, again, is the fundamental. And so a great time of also developing our communication skills, you could say. or just communicative side. You could say social side as well. All of this, willing to learn, willing to exchange, and be a bit more flexible and adaptive in our life because of that interest in learning. So great to set any intentions around this. We'll call it mental and communicative energy with this new beginning here. So with this, the new moon is going to be, like I was saying, ending the previous cycle, and this was in Taurus, the bull. So anything you do want to complete regarding resourcefulness, self-reliance, cultivating our inner or outer resources, I think it's still good to do this as we approach probably late Friday, early Saturday, and then just sort of being with the energy as we get into next week, seeing what new things can arise with this practical, flexible, inquisitive, and communicative or interested side of ourself with this new beginning. And I really put the caveat on that because Mercury is finishing Taurus, so there is still that resourceful mind of thinking about cultivating those inner and outer resources that we can certainly still be doing as we do before we get into the weekend, essentially. All right, so with the new moon, we do have an opposition up to Pluto in Sagittarius, who's been transforming our perception on life for a very long time. And so since about the 2007 time period. And so collectively, there's been a lot of perception changes, both personally and collectively. So with this new moon opposite Pluto, it is a reminder, of course, to be open-minded to changing perspectives. Because, of course, in order to be interested, in order to gain information, we have to be willing to change our perception on things. So it's a great time of maybe questioning our own perception of life. It's a great time of maybe opening our perception on new possibilities and new things. And in this way, it can be very supportive. So Pluto is very deep energy. And so with the new moon, it is an opposition. So it's not necessarily a very strong sort of energy, as if maybe it was a square, it would be more challenging. But nonetheless, if there is anything that you do want to dive deep with yourself, psychologically, spiritually. Both Pluto and Chiron deal with healing, maybe doing some of that inner work, some of that healing, again, in the context of our perception and our beliefs, right? And this can be extremely transformative because the result of Pluto is the transformation. It's the shedding of the outworn beliefs, perspectives, which then gives way to new ones, new beliefs on life, a little bit more open-mindedness, more adventurousness, more willing to expand our horizons. So great to challenge ourselves to do that. This is always good anyways with Gemini because Sagittarius balances out Gemini. It's very good to get into the mental and practical things. But again, to really expand upon that, it's very important to be open-minded and to expand our mental horizons to philosophy, to astrology, to spirituality, anything that's more abstract with Sagittarius. Right, because a good example of this is something like science. Gemini is very left side of the brain actually, so it's very practical, it's mathematical. That's why it rules language. But Sagittarius is very right side of the brain. It's the abstract, it's the creative, it's the theoretical, the hypothetical. So great to get into that abstract energy to help balance this out. And I think because of this opposition, it is good to find that balance in our lives during this new lunar cycle between the practical and the abstract. Also between the day-to-day and the adventurous, right? Anything that is both grounded practically, but also free-spirited, adventurously or in the abstract sense, is very good with this new moon. All right, so we do also have trines up to Neptune. And so Neptune's been recently entering into Pisces this year, and very briefly last year. So a great time of going a little bit more with the flow. I think anytime Neptune's in a trine to the lunar cycle, it's usually the part of the year where we're a little bit more willing to go with the flow, a little bit more receptive. And so this is great. If there are any sort of dreams or hopes or wishes that you've had maybe this past year, we may start to see a little bit of flow with that. Things sort of serendipitously aligning. Or at least we're just more willing to have faith and trust that everything is working out regarding, what we want on a soul level. So very supportive with the spiritual constellation of Pisces with Neptune here. And so more willing to have faith and trust and have acceptance. Very good time for spiritual activities, being a little bit more receptive in our life, maybe sleep and rest. These kinds of things are very supportive with this new moon. Now there is a square up to Chiron, so there is some good energy to challenge ourselves with regarding healing. Again, it could be psychological, could be spiritual, it's inward, it's Pisces energy. It's again also kind of Pluto energy here. So yeah, any type of, inward, but also physical healing, I think it's very good to challenge yourself with during this cycle. If there are any wounds that do arise, with maybe that willingness to go with the flow or have faith and trust, by doing that, by, having a little more receptivity, by facing any wounds or fears or inhibitions, again, it can be very transformative with Pluto, but also very healing and therapeutic with Chiron as well. All right, and then there's a minor sextile up to Uranus, which is really something we can choose or choose not to do. But Uranus is all about having new experiences. So there is an opening here to maybe get outside the comfort zone, mix some things up in our day-to-day life, have new experiences, right? So great to do this, especially if anything involves action or initiative or self-willed energy on your part. This is Uranus and Aries, helping us sort of mix up and cultivate more of that initiating, independent and active side, especially if it's in a way that's outside that comfort zone, right? Or experimenting or trying new things, right? There is a support for having new experiences and sort of getting outside the box and being a bit visionary as well. Maybe about things like the future and stuff can actually be quite supportive with this also. All right, so that is the new moon in a nutshell. Very straightforward, I would say, even though there's a lot of aspects with it. The most important thing is, of course, this fresh new start, letting the energy sort of die down as we end the previous eclipse cycle and see what new can arise and maybe set some new intentions with Gemini. Being interested, learning. Maybe it's more private, picking up that book. Maybe it's learning some languages. Maybe it's developing our writing skills or just doing some writing, but also externally as well, connecting with peers, neighbors, things like this, exchanging. Gemini is also the marketplace. It's very good for things like business or communication or coming to agreement with others in terms of that more sociable kind of energy as well. Recognizing the importance of being open-minded and transforming our beliefs and questioning our beliefs. With Pluto and Sagittarius, which can be very transformative and help balance out what is a very mental or practical time with a little bit more of the free-spirited, adventurous, open-minded energies of Sagittarius. Trine up to Neptune, some support with the receptive side of ourselves and of life. A square up to Chiron, a good way of challenging ourselves towards healing and personal empowerment. And an opening with Uranus to mix some things up, have some new experiences, and get outside that box a little bit. All right, so everyone have a fantastic new moon. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button if you haven't yet. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you do check out the link down below. There is a newsletter. It's called MTZ Insiders. It's absolutely free, and you do get these videos released first. So if you do want that video released before YouTube in the future, and also if you do want extra content and extra videos, do check out the MTZ Insiders link, newsletter, absolutely free, and again, link down below. So everyone, again, have a great new moon, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.